Hey, welcome everybody to Bluejay Banter live on our YouTube channel. We're doing the show right here live from Let It Fly Sports Bar in downtown Omaha. Thanks so much for watching. If you can, hit that subscribe button and like button. It helps us out a ton. We're going to jump right into our guest today, none other than Mr. Jasen Green.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. So you guys went up to Ames.
We did.
You sat out just for precautionary reasons.
Right, yeah, precautionary.
And so how did you think it went overall?
I think it went really well. It took a little second for us to get going and for us to get, acclimated to their defense because obviously they're a very good defensive team.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was really good for us to be able to play against them already. And we learned a lot of things about ourselves and some things we need to work on, some things we don't need to work on. But I thought it was a great experience for us.
I chuckle because you and I, we talked last week. That's the first thing you talked about. I was like, don't drive that baseline into that trap. And you go, yeah, we've been hearing that all week.
Yeah, they're coming, for sure.
So did you think, just observing, did you think their defense did it live up to what Mac got you ready for,
Absolutely.
basically?
I think it did for sure. Throughout the whole week during practice, we were obviously preparing for them because we knew that they're going to be a tough defensive team. They finished number 1 defensively last year, and obviously they're going to be good again this year. So we're working on toughness drills during practice, working on getting to 2 feet, ball fake, pass fakes, all those things. And then come game time, we're doing all those things. And, it's working a lot of the time, but also a lot of the time they're just so good that they can get to those passes.
Yeah, they're so long.
They are, yeah. But we definitely prepared a lot for it, and that definitely helped us out, though.
Well, they're number 6 for a reason in the country. There's a reason. For the most part, I heard you guys used a lot of different combinations, right?
We did, yeah. We didn't really have the same group out there for too long. We wanted to see how different one of our players play together, just different things like that, different combos, just to see what potentials, who had potential, for getting time during the season, what groups work together, stuff like that.
Before you came in, we were just briefly talking about Pop. How do you feel he adjusted? I think the injury obviously was really, really unfortunate for a guy that's coming in trying to adjust and pick up the new system. But I can see the improvements as we've gone along, and I think the scrimmage, he probably felt comfortable going against a team from his old conference.
I would agree with that. He's been unbelievable since the day he got here. He's a really good player for us. We lost a few players last year, and we got some transfers in, and he's really stepped up to the plate and really owned what he's supposed to do. He's doing everything he needs to be doing. He's a great leader too. That's another big thing about him. We lost a couple leaders last year, and him stepping in and being able to take that role as a transfer is huge for us too. So he's definitely doing really well so far.
People have asked me to describe him. The only thing I come up with is he's a dog.
He's a dog, for sure, yeah.
He is on both ends of the floor, man. He can take to the hole. He's scrappy. He's just
for sure.
Yeah, he's just that guy. When he's on the other team, you're like, man, he's just a mosquito, man.
He does everything that you don't want him to do if you're on the other team.
Jasen, how have the freshmen been leaving an impression on you guys? Obviously, it's hard as a true freshman. It doesn't matter how good you are, but you got guys in front of you. It's a whole different beast. Coming to play at a high level program here. What have you seen from those guys so far?
I've seen a lot of great things from those guys, especially a lot of toughness. I know more than anyone that is really hard to play as a freshman here, especially as a true freshman, like you were saying. But these guys have taken it upon themselves to, fit into their role and play the game with ears wide open, because obviously you're gonna make mistakes. You're not gonna do everything right the first time. But these guys that are here right now are just soaking everything in that they need to, and I've already seen a huge improvement from all of them from since they got here to right now. So they're doing unbelievably.
Who at the scrimmage, if you just pick one, maybe 2 guys, whatever, who would you think, wow, they really, because Mac was saying before last week, he was saying, they're throwing a bunch of guys out there, and sometimes when the lights come on, they play better than we think, or sometimes not as good as who did you think maybe really exceeded what they maybe have been doing in practice and so forth, and didn't let facing a defensive team like Iowa State bother them too much?
That's a big thing. The first person for me that comes to mind is probably Jackson McAndrew, one of our freshmen. He was obviously he's a really good player, came in very highly recruited, but during practices and stuff, he's struggled a little bit with certain things. But during the scrimmage, I thought he would maybe think the lights were a little brighter or something, or have a little tough time doing certain things. But he really he stood out to me. He was knocking down shots like it was nothing, just like it was in practice. He was playing really good defense, and I don't know. He just seemed like he was already ready, which is really good for me to see. So he'd be one of the biggest guys. Yeah.
Jasen, I'm kind of curious, your thoughts on the non-conference schedule. Obviously, the conference schedule is kind of a bear every year, but this non-conference one, the fans are pretty darn excited for. There's a lot of good names on there. I'm curious your thoughts.
I'm really excited. I'm probably more excited than the fans are because, I grew up watching these teams play. We played a couple of them last year, and a lot of them are very highly ranked teams, and it's going to be a really good experience for us to see how we react, like when things are going well, when things are going bad. Obviously, like not everything is going to go perfect for us, and especially them being non-conference teams, we're going to have so much time to learn a lot about ourselves and what we need to work on before regular season starts for us, which is really good. But I'm so excited just to play against those teams.
I'll bet you you guys won't. There won't be any extra tickets on your ticket allotment for that Kansas game.
I'm already for this weekend. I already need an extra ticket. I'm taking
really?
Yeah. It's already a bit of a struggle. So.
Yeah, what's it going to be like? You and Purdue are ranked 14-15 right together. Obviously, no Edey, which would have been, I think everybody would want to see Kalk and Edey go at it.
Edey would have been huge.
But they've got a very, very good cast that's coming back.
They do, yeah. My thoughts about that game, I feel like it'll be a great game. Obviously, like you just said, we're ranked one above the other. So I think that it'll be good for us just to see like where we're at. Like they have some really good guards coming back. I think they have like Big Ten preseason player of the year or something. So that'll be really good challenge for us, like to see how we react to him, how we deal with him. And like, I just think it's going to be a good game. We're going to learn a lot about ourselves. We're going to get to play in front of our fans for the first time, which is going to be great too. And I'm just really excited.
Were you here with Coach Lusk?
Coach Lusk, I don't believe so.
No, he missed it by I think 1 year.
Okay, I missed Coach Lusk coming back, assistant at Purdue. Yeah,
that's another angle to the game that I didn't think about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What else has been, practices I think have been, would you agree they've a lot of good, some not so good. It's kind of been up and down when you're trying to integrate so many new guys, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's always going to be like a process, especially with the amount of new guys we have. But I'd say at the beginning it was a lot more of a struggle than it is right now because people were still getting acclimated to how we do things. But as like we kept going and kept continuing, it's been easier and easier for everybody because like we have like a schedule, we have like a way we practice every single day, and once everybody got used to it, it was a lot easier for them to like put in new plays or learn new defensive concepts and stuff like that. So like as time went on, it's definitely gotten a lot easier for all of our guys.
I would, just in your time here though, I was talking with one of the assistants the other day, and I said, one thing that stood out to me over the last couple of years is the how quick guys are picking up defensive schemes and so forth. I remember the first 3-4 years ago, I was like, oh man, it's going to take some time. And it seems like these young guys and transfers all come in and they're picking it up very quickly. Is that somewhat accurate with what you've seen too?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's definitely a credit to our coaches and our leaders on our team because we have a lot of little details that go into our defenses, and we work on defense every day for a good portion of practice. So it's one thing to have the coaches teach you, but it's another thing to be in the drills, in the live activities that we're doing, and if you mess up, just have one of your teammates be right there just to tell you you should have done that or you should have been right there, so that next time that happens that they're ready for us. So I would say it's just a big credit to the leaders on the team.
We're talking with Jasen Green. I think you'll probably agree with me. A lot of people, you went to practice. It's not a 60-minute scrimmage, okay?
Very true.
And a big chunk of it is defense. And that defensive drills that you guys go, man, they are intense. And there is tons of talking and yelling and screaming. Everybody's communicating, and that really flows over into the game, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. If you're not talking or if you're not yelling, then Mac is going to let you know, one of our assistants is going to let you know right away. So you have to be top of your lungs basically screaming at your teammates what to do or what coverage we're in or different things like that. Because, we're playing in front of 17,000 people for every home game, so it's important to be as loud as possible.
Right.
Jasen, I'm curious with you guys, haven't been so close the past couple of years with Baylor and Trey. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're embarking on new journeys in the NBA. Do you guys stay in touch with them much? Have they given you guys much about their journey so far?
I do stay in touch with them a little bit, but it's not like I don't really talk to either of them daily, but like I like to catch up with them like just on the low. And Baylor said he's doing really good down in Boston. And then I don't remember when the last time I spoke with Trey was. I think it was maybe a few weeks ago, but he's enjoying the process. He's doing what he's doing out there, and I'm just proud of both of them just for what they've accomplished so far.
Yeah, special.
I'm glad Ross. I was going to ask you. So I don't think we've talked about this before. NBA, who's your go-to team?
That's the thing about me. I don't really have a go-to team for any sport, but I mean, I just got me a little Boston shirt just because my teammate goes there, and then I'm about to get me a little Nuggets one too. But I don't know. I would say it's one of those two teams as of right now because.
Tim, that's the thing. You're from Minnesota. You grew up in Omaha. We don't have a team. We can kind of just we don't have favorite teams.
But I mean, I talked with Ty the other day, and I was like, "Why you wearing number 9?" Oh, because I was a Rondo fan.
Okay. There's some of that.
You know?
Favorite players. Yeah.
Although Ty said, I really wore 3 last year, but I can't really wear that here.
That's true.
So why do you have the number you have?
There's not really a story behind it, unfortunately. Like I wanted to be, I think 44 was the one that I was originally going for because that was my dad's number back in college. But number 0, I feel like it was just kind of like a new beginning for me because I wanted it to represent who I was. And I don't know, I'm starting from basically nothing. I'm starting from square one when I got to college. So 0 is kind of just what I went with.
Like that.
Like
All right, we've spoken about this, but I'd like you to tell all the viewers. Talk about the process this summer, what you went through, and all about your shooting and so forth.
So this summer was, I think I said this a couple of times, but it's definitely the most work I've put in any offseason because I knew that I really needed to work on my three-point shot if I wanted to be more of an offensive threat, like so my man couldn't sag off me and helping the gaps and things like that. So it was either 1 workout a day or 2 workouts a day, minimum of 1. But I was in the gym almost every day with Mitch Ballack. He's been the guy that I've been working out with the most, and he's got my shot right. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really confident, and I've worked on a lot of different things too. It's not just my shot. It's my mid-post game, low-post game, my rips, like just being patient when I get the ball, and just different things to do out of different sets that we have. But I feel like I've like kind of transformed as a player. I'm a lot better than I was last year and the year before. So.
How's school going?
School's going really good for me right now. It was a bit of a struggle in one of my finance classes, but besides that, I feel like I've got everything on lock. But,
How much do you love those 6 a.m. practices?
Well, we got one tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to it. I'll tell you that. But I mean, we got to do what we got to do. We're gonna get in. We're gonna get our work in. We're gonna get done.
Is that like a Tuesday deal with everybody's class load and stuff? Do you think?
No, I think it's Big East Media.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So,
yeah.
We got a bunch of people heading out for that. So we're just
absolutely. I forgot.
Yeah.
I usually go to that.
Done with those 6 a.m.
I know. Yeah. You got the rest of the day.
Very good.
Got classes.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit about that a couple of weeks ago about the class because some people asked questions about that. Mm-hmm. So you get your class and it's pretty much worked around the basketball, right?
Yeah. So we got. Most of our classes are in the morning, like as early as possible, just to get them out the way. Like today, I had an 8 a.m. class at 9:30, and then I had a lift at 11, and then one more class at 12:30, and then we had practice. And we just finished practice like an hour ago, or something like that. But it's a pretty tightly packed schedule, so you don't really get too much free time throughout the day.
One last thing, you mentioned that shooting, but I think you told me, did you improve by 10% from the start to the end, or something
10%.
like that?
Oh, I think maybe. I'm not sure. Exactly, but I've definitely improved a lot. I couldn't put a number on it though, if I'm being honest. But it's definitely a lot more than. 10%. Like you talking about like from the 3-point line?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think it's that.
Yeah.
I was shooting somewhere around 35-40%. I think.
Yeah,
really
yeah. I just happened to stumble across the post game, Hurley's post game interview. It reminded me. That game there, you hit the 2 threes because he even mentioned, he goes, Green, I don't think he hit a 3 all year. He hit 2 right in a row. How was that in playing like the biggest regular season game of the year to knock down those threes?
It was great. I mean, I was confident in the shot when I took it. I knew I was going to have the chance because they were playing so far off of me. So I was just ready in that corner whenever whenever someone needed to find me, I was going to be ready for the shot. And
it's got to be nice this year, though. You put in the work. You probably got to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah,
shooting.
for sure, a lot more comfortable, especially in front of big crowds. Like, it's a big thing at first, playing in front of so many people, but the more you do it, the more easy it gets.
Right.
So,
Sure. And I could say, being at practice, his rotation, his form, it looks fantastic, and they've been knocking, falling down.
They've been going in.
Falling down.
I confuse you with Ashworth sometimes. Jay, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Appreciate it. Best luck. We'll see you Saturday night.
Thank you very much.
And
Thanks,
this
Jason.
segment was sponsored by West Pacific Dental Group. They're a friendly, experienced staff who will make you sure you feel comfortable and well-informed. Their personalized dental treatments provide patients with care they need to get their dental health on track. So you'll leave their office so well-informed and so comfortable with the way you're going to attack your dental issues that you're always going to be in good hands with West Pacific Dental Group and Dr. Robert Hogan, huge Jays fan. So give him a call today, 402-697-0765. That's 402-697-0765. That's West Pacific Dental Group. They're my dentist, and you will love them. All right, big thanks to Jay Green for joining us. His shot, from 2 years ago to now is, I always thought his form wasn't bad, but he just seemed, you're right, Ross, he's shooting him with so much more confidence.
I haven't been in practice. I've heard
I'm just saying in practice, you can just see
looks a lot more comfortable
he's
and
way
improved.
more comfortable.
And that's a key component for him and his development, because he's got, Jasen adds an element at his size and athleticism that I don't know that we've really had a ton of at the four. So over the past number of years, obviously we're always heavy on skill guys at that type of position, but for somebody to be able to snatch rebounds and maybe even lead the break a couple of times and pick and pop now with his improved ability to shoot, that's a huge component to be able to help this team.
Yeah. The other thing we didn't discuss that I've spoken with Jason about before too, the other thing was he worked hard on his lateral movement and so forth, because he really wants to be able to guard 2 through 4.
Yeah, no, I think defensively, that's another area where he can really help. You think back, it's not a perfect comparison, but you think back to a kind of a smaller 5, and Jason's not a 5, obviously, but a guy like, they're very similar builds. Christian Bishop's probably a little bit taller than Jason,
maybe a little bit longer, a little thinner, maybe even.
But they've just kind of got that wiry strength about them, and I just thought Christian was a fantastic pick and roll defender, and I think that Jasen can even provide that same sort of energy on that end of the floor. And even with Christian, they used to hedge ball screens a lot, and Christian was so good at hedging and getting and staying in front of the guard and then getting back to his man. I think you can even probably start to switch a lot of ball screens with Jasen too, if he's if we'll see early on in the season if he's capable of switching on a lot of those 2s and 3s, but that could be a huge help if throughout the year he's able to make that defensive leap.
Yeah, and he you can just see in practice too, when I've been there, he's not afraid to run out, because his quickness now, he's able to handle a 2 or a 3 as far as them getting to the hole or getting to a screen or so forth. So, but yeah, I'd say when you stand next to Jason when he's in his basketball uniform, he's put together, man. He is,
no doubt.
He's a tight end, baby. He's
looks the part.
Yep, absolutely. All right, time to check in with fall sports. Men's soccer, they got a win over lowly Villanova. They're now in second in their division, and the top 2 teams from each division get to go to the Big East tournament, and then the next 6 highest points. And right now, Creighton's within that, but they've got a big game this week, Wednesday at Akron. The leaders in their division, and probably arguably the best team in the conference. Then they're home to Butler, an 0-5 team, and then on the road to Marquette, team that's right there with them in their division. So, if they can get 2 of these 3, I think they'll be pretty good shape heading into the Big East tournament. Women's just keep rolling. A tremendous job in the coach's first season. They beat DePaul, and they find themselves in 3rd place. And they now have 3 games left Seton Hall on the road up next, but 2 of the 3 teams they play are at the bottom of the league, so they've got an excellent chance as well to make the postseason, which they haven't done in a while, so that's a fantastic job. And then before we get to volleyball, I just want to talk about our newest sponsor, Discount Window and Door of Omaha, locally family owned. It's been around for a long time. And they just give you fantastic service. They come out, they set up a plan for you. When it comes to enhancing your home's beauty, comfort, energy efficiency, trust the expertise, the best window company in Omaha. That's Discount Window and Door of Omaha. They came out to my house recently, put in new windows, and they look fabulous. The whole process has been unbelievable. Tremendous customer service and satisfaction and detail, attention to detail. So check them out, 402-884-8989. That's 402-884-8989. Volleyball team, what can I say? Same old, same old. They just keep sweeping everybody, and they are just on a tremendous roll, 17-2. Still number 6 in the country. They're number 4 in the RPI now. Real good chance to get one of the top seeds in the country if this keeps moving on. They got 2 matches this week at Georgetown and at Seton Hall, 2 teams down toward the bottom of the league on Friday and Saturday before they come home for 3 straight. And then I believe at the end of that stretch, they're going to head, the final game of the season is at Marquette on like it's an FS1 game, I believe. So Fox has had both their games on TV, so they know who the 1 and 2 in the conferences are. So just a great season going on with volleyball. I do want to mention real quickly, the women's didn't get a chance to spend a ton of time at women's meet today, but I did a little bit. And Flan, I know, is very excited about the team he's got. He's got a very veteran team.
He's got a lot of production back. Yeah.
Right. And I overheard him talking to another media member and saying that, he's kind of really been watching Kirsten, I should say, Coach Booth with the volleyball, because she's kind of in a similar situation with 2 All-Americans on her team. And just kind of like, okay, how's she handling this season when, this is the season with the huge expectations. Mm-hmm. How's she handling that? And he said he's already picked up a few things like, she's maybe a little bit more intense. She's spending more time on detail things and so on and so forth. So very interesting to hear him talking. I've talked to a few of the players, and they're just really excited to get the season going. Obviously, they're really pumped about the UConn game being at CHI. So just wanted to give you a quick little update on women, and we'll talk more about them here in the next couple of weeks. And right now we're going to talk about one of our fine sponsors every year is CareMinders Home Health Care. When you're in need of care for your injured, ill loved one, reach out to CareMinders Home Health Care. Their agency is comprised of certified caregivers who have many years of experience. You'll receive versatile, flexible, and customized care for your comfort, peace of mind, and well-being. Give them a call today, 402-532-1383. That's 402-532-1383. You'll go to caremindersnebraska.com. You'll see everything they have to offer, and you can be prepared for when the time that you need their services. Okay, I want to kind of we talked briefly about a little bit with Jasen about the Iowa State scrimmage. But, the reports are that Creighton lost it by 1 point. These scrimmages are, as Jasen said, a little bit different because we have so much depth this year. So Coach Mack is kind of looking to see what kind of combinations he can put together, and he went with a lot of that in this scrimmage. I don't think Kalk played the entire scrimmage. They just, really looking for different combinations. And, it's really good to hear Jasen played really well.
Yeah.
Because I've seen his growth in practices from day one to now. I mean, he's getting more and more comfortable, especially like Jasen mentioned on the defensive end. He can flat out shoot it. That's not the problem. But he's getting more comfortable with the process, and it's really, Ross, you've seen it a million times. You never know, guys can look great all the way through practice, and then the first game comes up, and you don't want to say that moment's too big for him, but it's a little bit different being out there in front of 17,000 people.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between practice and the games, and they obviously to your point, between the crowds, it obviously just means a heck of a lot more once you get into the game. So it's going to be fascinating to see, what type of minutes a guy like Jasen is going to get and how he makes the most of those minutes. The scrimmage for them to, have a couple of their main guys and Jasen and Fedor not really play. Well, not really. They didn't play. And, that's what is Iowa State, 5th or 6th preseason in the country?
Number 6, yeah.
And, to kind of go blow for blow with them and a team that's really, really tough on the defensive end of the floor is impressive. And so I think, you heard Jasen talk about it a little bit with Pop Isaacs. I think really this fan base is going to find out quick here after the first number of games. We're going to love having a guy like him on our team that's just really, able to get after defenders, on the defensive end of the floor, pick up people full court, and got a little game on the offensive end too.
Yeah, and it sounded like he had a pretty good game against Iowa State, and I'm sure, it doesn't hurt going against a team in the conference that you played a lot in. When he was at Texas Tech, that was part of their, like Max said, this is his third scheme in 3 years, really.
Yeah. Yep.
So their defense was somewhat similar to Iowa State's the first year he was there. He was somewhat.
Well, and what's nice about bringing in a guy like Pop and coming from a program such as Texas Tech is, they pride themselves on toughness in the defensive end of the floor. So you don't have to. You don't have to go at a guy like Pop Isaacs and say, this is what we expect on the defensive end floor. It's already kind of embedded in who you're getting as a player. And he's clearly brought that, that level of intensity to the forefront already. So it's going to be awesome to watch him. And, hopefully Jemiah, especially with his length and athleticism on the wing to really be able to disrupt people on that end of the floor too. I would be surprised if this team isn't one of the better teams we've had on the defensive end of the floor in quite some time.
I would agree with you. The only question mark I would have is, and I think like Pop is athletic enough and quick enough and so forth, but our size at the 1-2 is probably not the same size that we've had in the past.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of a guy like Kenari Richmond, who's 6'6". Yeah.
No, I don't disagree. I would argue though it's, you look back at now, a couple of absolutely elite shot makers in Marcus Zagorowski and Tyshawn Alexander. I would argue that's probably not the ideal size. You want it 1 and 2 with those two guys as well. A little bit on the shorter side, but to your point, yeah, it's these two guys are a little bit smaller, so they're gonna have to make up for it. And I think Stephen Ashworth. I mean, he certainly showed his toughness aspects last year, and he was big in big moments down the stretch. And I think back to when he just got leveled at Seton Hall, and they didn't call it, but he still made it, and basically brought us to one of 3 or 4 overtimes that we played that game. So those two definitely possess a certain aspect of toughness that you definitely want at those positions.
Yeah, but even Marcus and Ty were like 6'2", 6'4". Now,
Ty was a little bit thinner. Certainly a little bit taller than these two. Sure.
Pop's a little bit more put together.
Yep.
No doubt about it. But certainly when you've got the experience of these two guys, I mean, their experience is off the charts.
No, it really is. It's Steven's played a lot of basketball at the college level at this point. So is Pop. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I can't really believe this whole thing kind of snuck up on us. The fact that we're playing this this exhibition with Purdue on Saturday. I mean, somebody said to me today, do you have a couple tickets for Saturday? I go, I don't even know what you're talking about. And it reminded me, it was crazy.
Jasen apparently
Purdue. One. Yeah, exactly.
Let's segue into Purdue. So obviously no Edey, but
you bring back Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, and you've still got some pieces there that are going to help you a lot. I mean, they still got, outside of Edey, I think they lost Mason Gillis. I think they lost.
They're favored in the Big Ten.
One other,
for a reason.
No, they are. They are. They're not an overwhelming favorite. I think the Big Ten is going to be a little bit more kind of jam packed this year.
I think so too.
As far as no great team, so to speak, but this is a team that every single year now under Matt Painter is top 10 good. So you would expect them to, to come out and have a really talented roster ready to compete.
Yeah, isn't it weird when when you say Matt Painter's name, the first thing I think about was that year he was at Southern and patrolling the sidelines here and just bringing a team in and think, okay, they're going to be somewhat down now with a new coach. And no, they were actually improved with him.
Yeah, the interesting thing is he doesn't seem that old. I don't think he is that old. He's just been a head coach for a really long time. Yeah. It's gosh, that was it was 2 decades ago when he was at Southern. It's just interesting.
And then, as you mentioned too, Paul Lusk, former assistant here at Creighton, is on the staff there, kind of their defensive guru, like he was here. And so,
Paul's a great guy and just a hoops savant. And I got to know him a little bit when he was assistant here, and he was always really really good to me. We just chatted hoops all the time, and I would expect him, going back to Purdue and being kind of an integral member of Painter's staff. He's been a head coach one time at Missouri State. They had some unlucky injury issues when he was there. I would expect him to get another crack at a head job in the next couple of years here, and certainly hope that he does.
I would too. Because, guys, you look around the country, I was just seeing a little bit before, I didn't know that Field of 68 is having that tournament up in the Pentagon on day one, a week from today. No, 2 weeks from today. I'm sorry. 2 weeks from today. Yeah. And they've got Charleston and Chris Mack is there.
Chris Mack's at Charleston, yeah.
Yeah. And they were talking about they're playing Southern Illinois, and that coach used to be at South Dakota State. And then, South Dakota State's going to play Will Wade and McNeese State in the nightcap. I mean...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've got 3 really competitive games they put together there, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Why am I blanking? Who is that coach at Southern now? Because they got rid of Mullins.
Yeah, you would. Oh gosh, I can't remember his name, but I know who he is though. Yeah, that was surprising that they got rid of Mullins.
They certainly weren't winning like Southern had won when he was there as a player, but they also certainly weren't
really
poor.
Competitive.
They were pretty okay.
Yeah, I thought they would have given him,
especially one of their own. I thought they would have given him a little bit more time.
I just wonder what their NIL is.
That's kind of the $1 million question these days. I don't know if you saw the thing about the Memphis player that just left yesterday, and there was a whole bunch of stuff with his agent, kind of sounding off on the lack of promises that came through on the NIL stuff, and so it's.
We've heard this time and time again. We really have. Yeah,
it's going to get interesting.
I think I've told this story before, but I heard from Steven last year when he was going through his recruitment process. He'd go to school and they'd say,
and you just
"You're going to get this much," and the players told him,
"That's not what you're getting.
You're not going to get that." Yep. And so, to Tony Bennett's comments, something's got to get cleaned up here and changed.
Yeah, I was shocked at that. I'm not shocked that he of all people stepped away. I'm a little shocked at the timing, although. People were talking about the timing as if it was a bad thing. Couple of things. One, he really wanted a lot of those coaches, when they do that, they want their guy to be the interim and have a chance and show for a full season that they can be a head coach. The second component of that is you don't want to do it kind of late summer, because then guys can still technically leave and get poached by other programs that late. So
that's good point.
It is interesting that he did it right before the season started, and it kind of sent shockwaves. But it's not shocking that Tony Bennett of all people said, "You know what, I'm kind of done with this."
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, I saw in his comments, he said, "Yeah, I was fired up. We're going to put in a new offense." So I'm really curious to see what that looks like from his assistant. Obviously, we'll keep going with that because they've been practicing it. I'm curious to see what that looks like, because that was a big thing. And I think, too, the other thing, Ross.
But let's just say they needed to put in a new offense. It was time to put in a new offense for Virginia basketball.
I think you can kind of see a trend, though, like the guys that don't embrace it, and that's all credit to Mac and Coach Huss. When he was here, he jumped on this NIL right out of the get-go.
It's different.
And Coach Mac embraced it, embraced the portal. And you can tell these coaches like Tony Bennett, I'm not totally sure, like Jay Wright left when he did.
Yeah,
I kind of think he didn't like
Jay Wright didn't like it either.
You see different programs all of a sudden slip a little bit, and you're like, And you're kind of surprised at some programs too, like even I think Nebraska for all the money and all the fan they have, they got into it late. I'm not saying they're hurting, but they got into it late, and it kind of hurt them a little bit.
Well, and I think, to your point, I think it was just so new at the time, and everyone was so confused on how it was all going to work that, some programs just said there don't appear to be a whole lot of regulation here. Let's just take this thing and run. And some others, kind of caught flat-footed in that regard. It's obviously continued to evolve now for a few years. To the point about the coaches, I think it's exhausting on them more so than anything. I think it's not necessarily about even just negotiating money with players, although that's certainly a part of it, but just the constant exhaustion and having to wade through the transfer portal year in and year out. And we hear it from not only, some of our coaches, other coaches all over the place that, they're working around the clock now till June. I mean, there's no off season whatsoever. Nope. And it's just a new world. It's interesting. I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, I don't know how much more sustainable it can be for the next, 5 to 10 years, especially for, if you think about programs that aren't really winning at a high clip. If you think about a team or a program that's, kind of consistently always on the bubble or maybe closer around that 500 area, at some point our boosters are going to say, listen, I've given you so much money over the past number of years. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
2 things to that. I think it would be really hard for a coach, say, to come in from the outside into Creighton now because Mac has a culture established. So that helps him with NIL a lot.
It does.
Right? Because he's got a plan, a tier system, right? And I'm sure there's other schools that have that same thing, but some don't, and then a new coach comes in, and it's hard for him to get going. The second thing, to your point, running the rival side for Creighton, used to be like, okay, who, you'd ask coach, who are some of our top targets, and I don't ever get that. They just say, we're looking at portal. We're ranking all the portal players. I mean, that's what they have to do, right? I mean, it is what it is.
Well, it is nice, our program has gotten to of such a high caliber and so well thought of nationally now because of all the winning that Coach Mack and our staff have brought, that from a high school recruiting standpoint anymore, we're basically we're in on most of the top 75 guys. We're not casting as wide of a net.
Depending on the position, what we need, our needs. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Yep. I totally agree. So before we get to some odds and ends and get you set for Saturday night, we just want to talk a little bit about Infusion Brewing Company, great sponsor of ours. They've got some great seasonal brews going on right now, the pumpkin vanilla bean and the side-eyed malted milk ball stout. Wow. That's a mouthful.
Yep.
Made some more Bloody Marys with the pickle beer this weekend. Love it.
You're a Bloody Mary guy.
So that's Infusion Brewing, 402-934-2064. They're on 6271 South 118th Street. Get out there. Fabulous tasting room. And just a fun time on the weekend to go out and check them out. So that's Infusion Brewing Company. So we want to just touch base. We don't have time for a dumb basketball question, but I do want to touch base a little bit. I did talk to a academic advisor. We touched it briefly with Jasen, and that right now. And I know you had spoken about when you were there, how the class schedule went.
Yeah.
And she said, it's pretty much the same, and so on and so forth. She said now though, they don't ever run into the problem with the lab or anything like that.
Okay.
They have it all figured out. Hey,
interesting.
He can't do the 3 o'clock because that's going to be. We have a lot of 2:30 practices, so we're going to have to move that to here, or what have you.
Yep.
So, and they do work more closely probably in the day with the road trips now, because back in the day, he went to Carbondale and came back. Now they're staying on the East Coast for 3-4 days at a time. So, they're working on different things like that. So pretty much we nailed that one. So we just want to give you that update on that. Saturday, Purdue, number 14 against number 15, CHI, 7 o'clock. Man, I'd get down here early to let it fly because this place is going to be packed. People down here watching those 2:30 football games first. So head on down here before the game, and then over to the arena, and then afterward, yes, we are having our first post-game show right here, live from Let It Fly. So tune into our YouTube channel. By the way, you can catch us on YouTube at any time, but also we're on all the major podcasts as well: Apple, Spotify, Pandora. We're on all of them. So if that's the way you want to consume our show, you can now. Everything gets downloaded there, so check it all out. Make sure, though, on YouTube, hit that subscribe and like button, and give us a big 5-star rating on Apple as well. Well, we want to thank you. We want to thank Jay Green. He was great. I know a lot of you are very interested to see him. And by the way, so Saturday night, I'm not looking so much as what the final score is. I just want to see players out there. I want to see different combinations. I want to see how we match up against some of these great guards that Purdue has. I kind of want to, that's my main focus. And I think the coaches will go into this too, like more, sure, it's a game and they can use game situations, but they're more going to look at this like maybe a little bit of a practice. You know what I mean? To see what goes on, see some of these young guys, see some of the walk-ons. How are they going to perform? They may have to step up at some point. So really excited for that. So I think there's still tickets left, by the way. So if you don't have a ticket, go to Ticketmaster, or go to Go Creighton, call up the ticket office. I think there's still tickets available. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll see you back here Saturday night right after the game for our first post-game show of the year.